Since man does not create physical matter, those who handle material objects in the production process are not producers in that sense. Economic benefits result from the transformation of matter in form, location, or availability, intellectually or temporally. It is these transformations that create economic benefits valued by consumers, and whoever arranges such transformations contributes to the value of things, whether his hands actually come into contact with physical objects or not. The physical fallacy typically has temporal blinders as well. The production process is arbitrarily conceived to begin at a point after many prerequisites have already been assembled, and only those people actively involved beyond that arbitrary point are conceived to be involved at all, or really, in causing the result desired by the consumer. Those involved earlier, before the arbitrary point at which the story was begun to be depicted, then appear at the end, as if for the first time, as recipients of unearned proceeds. Aside from ethical questions about using such a depiction, intellectually it is essentially a linear picture of a circular process. In the full circle, the consumer's desires as to physical characteristics and location in time and space must be ascertained by someone who is able to assemble the human and other resources necessary to produce that combination of material and temporal results. Only after the subjective intangibles of consumer evaluation and producers' costs in risks and time preferences have been balanced and resolved prospectively can the mechanical portions of the physical process proceed. Once the process has gone full circle, it can continue and repeat only insofar as the actual valuations of the end results by the consumers prove sufficient, in retrospect, to cover costs incurred on the basis of prospective estimates. It is a knowledge process based on estimation and feedback. The physical process is only an intermediary consequence of these intangible estimates, and can continue only insofar as the estimates of some are subsequently validated by the subjective evaluations of others. The risky nature of this process is evidenced not only by the vast numbers of business bankruptcies each year, but by the fact that even such successful giant businesses as the Chrysler Corporation or U.S. Steel have operated at millions of dollars losses in some years. But these risks are inherent in a situation where some produce for others, rather than being artifacts of a particular set of institutions. Other kinds of economic systems may resolve or conceal these risks in various ways, but the risks and the costs they entail will not go away. Much of the Marxian tableau and related social visions depend, in a crucial way, on analyzing in retrospect only surviving and successful businesses. In this approach, the whole market process, risks, estimates, consumer validation, etc., all evaporates, while the analysis concentrates on selected results in terms of theoretical examples of survivors. Because firms can survive only insofar as prices cover costs, this vision of survivors only can proceed as if it is axiomatic that prices are somehow automatically suspended above costs, with the gap between them containing a profit to be siphoned off by those who happen to hold the legal title to the means of production, this arbitrary title being the economic cause as well as the institutional mechanism behind their proceeds. To generalize about any group from the experience of its successful survivors alone is often to miss the whole point of the process in which the group as a whole is involved. Using such an approach, one could, for example, prove that no one was killed in World War II. Where such a vision of the market economy proceeds empirically rather than theoretically, it can appear plausible only for relatively brief historical periods. The great successes of one era tend to disappear into oblivion in subsequent eras. Witness Life magazine, the Graflex Corporation, and W.T. Grant, all of whom were once giants dominating their respective fields. The disappearance of these once dominant enterprises within the past generation is part of a longer history of such disappearances. Virtually none of the top industrial giants of 100 years ago are still with us today. Such disappearances are perfectly understandable in a vision of a risky process of estimation and subsequent validation. They are hard to explain in a vision of prices mysteriously suspended above costs for the convenience of capitalists. A revealing episode in the early career of Walt Disney may illustrate the physical fallacy on a smaller and more human scale. Back in the 1920s, when Disney first emerged as a cartoonist, his early successes led him to found a studio and to employ other artists to draw the thousands of pictures required for animated cartoon movies. Disney Studios was particularly successful with an early cartoon character called Oswald Rabbit, whose copyright was held by a movie distributor rather than by Disney. This distributor decided to eliminate the need to pay Disney by hiring away his cartoonists and both producing and marketing the product. From the standpoint of the physical fallacy, Disney was superfluous. He neither drew the cartoons, nor transported the films to theaters, nor showed them to the public. The distributor, with the Disney staff and the copyright on Disney's character, expected to profit from his coup. But without Disney's ideas, the previously valuable character suddenly became worthless as a moneymaker at the box office. What had really been sold all along were Disney's ideas and fantasies. The physical things, the drawings, the film, and the theaters, were merely vehicles. It was only a matter of time before another set of vehicles could be arranged and the ideas incorporated in a new character, Mickey Mouse, which Disney copyrighted in his own name. Many of the products which create a modern standard of living are only the physical incorporations of ideas, not only the ideas of an Edison or Ford, but the ideas of innumerable anonymous people who figure out the design of supermarkets, the location of gasoline stations, and the million mundane things on which our material well-being depends. It is those ideas that are crucial, not the physical act of carrying them out. Societies which have more people carrying out physical acts and fewer people supplying ideas do not have higher standards of living. Quite the contrary. Yet the physical fallacy continues on, undaunted by this or any other evidence.